November 16, 1933, the day we recognized the Soviet Union. Its purpose, its open stated goal, its strategy was to overthrow the rest of the world and impose the teachings of Marx, and then Leninism, and then we get to Stalin. Now, 4 American presidents, beginning in 1917, refused to recognize this revolutionary government, knowing full well that you could not have, quote, normal, or even normal without quotes, relations with a government calculating towards your own destruction. This was obviously, you could not have agreements, they would be broken, you could not have any kind of deals or alliances. And so this government was shunned by the United States until 1933. And that was the year in November when Franklin Roosevelt, then in his very first term, recognized the Soviet Union. In order to perpetuate this alliance, to continue relations with the Soviet Union, which became really an obsession of American governments from that day forward, the American government had to learn to lie to the people and tell us lies about communism, tell us lies about Stalin, tell us lies about the Soviet Union. And I think in some way, these ills that we see in our culture today, I think have their roots in this relationship that Roosevelt himself believed in, convergence. And I suppose that the money people you're talking about came out of that same mindset and were promoting that same mindset and were indeed the influence on Roosevelt in making this decision. Given the record of the Bolshevik government coming in terms of body count, in pre-revolutionary times, the Tsarist government executed about 17 political prisoners a year. Compare this to the Spanish Inquisition, which at its height destroyed 10 people a month. But in those early revolutionary years, the Soviet, the new Bolshevik secret police, executed without trial more than 1,000 people per month. Later in the 1930s, Stalin was killing tens of thousands of people per month. And yet the United States rushed into alliance, rushed to recognize the Soviet government under Roosevelt during World War II, rushed into this alliance. And so you go again to these advisors, many of whom we later learned, confirmed after archives opened on the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991, we later learned many of these senior officials in the United States government were working for Stalin. I don't feel the same way about that war anymore, and I'm convinced that if my father were still living, that he would also greatly question what he had actually participated in. Because when you look at that post-war map, what happened? There is a devastated Germany, and in that vacuum, there is a new, thriving, powerful, U.S.-supplied Soviet empire in its place. I think most Americans would tell you they're still living in a capitalist-free country with all manner of liberty. The brainwashing, the conditioning that has been so successful and has demoralized us is definitely bringing us to this point of a certain kind of tyranny. It does not have, at this point, does not have the gulag, it does not have people knocking at the door with guns yet. It does, however, make examples of truth tellers. It makes examples of people who cross the line, and this has served to tyrannize us. And we are experiencing this, and yet you ask most people, they'll say we won the Cold War. Well, I say, look, 100 million dead after the communist century, and Republicans who have the majority in Congress cannot muster the votes to repeal and defund socialized medicine. Who won the Cold War?
The communist rules for revolution read like this: corrupt the young, get them away from religion, get them interested in sex, make them superficial, and destroy their ruggedness. Always preach true democracy, but seize power as fast and as ruthlessly as possible. Communist rules for revolution by encouraging government